Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant, and I got my man with me.
Yo.
TL, what's up?
What's up, Slim? I'm all right, man.
Yeah,
Coolin', man. Fighting the fight, you did.
fighting the fight, man.
Lot going on in our town, Holmes.
Yeah,
Man. Passed that old crime bill this week.
yeah. Don't
I mean, I did not. Let me tell you, I don't want to say that way, because I think with some things in there that were worthy, right? That were timely, that were needed through the lens of public safety, right? But I think it was just things in there, things that were proposed, and I shout out to. I don't even want to get into all the different, but I do appreciate some members, stepping up and saying, certain things just aren't okay. It's just not okay, and it doesn't necessarily help public safety. You know what I'm saying? And in a lot of ways, as a black man, and knowing that whole entire bill is aimed at, for the most part, black men. That's really black males, juvenile and adults. That's really what makes up the Washington, D.C. criminal justice system. So, as for instance, when you say that you're going to collect the DNA of everybody arrested for a violent crime or sexual misdemeanor, right? Arrested, in charge, I guess. That was amended, though. That wasn't original. It wasn't, the charge part wasn't in there, but that's sort of one of the guardrails, potential guardrails. But this is the thing. This is the thing I want people to think about just in that alone. And I get all, if they don't do nothing, but in our community, sometimes people don't do nothing and still get arrested.
Yeah.
And are later cleared.
And to stop real quick, sometimes other people do things and get let go.
Facts. Or don't get, exactly. Hello.
Yeah, too.
Right? So,
because there's still a human element to all of this.
Facts.
And you can make a decision as an officer to let somebody go based on your preconceived notion, based on their profile.
Based on your bias, absolutely.
And their bias, yeah.
We know that in this city, too, you can get charged with something. That don't mean you did it. In this country, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. So, just that collection, do you know that's going to be all black males for the most part? But the other side of the equation is we only doing it for violent. Well, that's all people get arrested for in this city, like gun possession or something. That's a violent crime. Simple as a fight. That's violence. Like what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's not just for homicide or attempted murder or assault with a deadly weapon or carjacking or armed robbery. It's not just for that. So. And you just collecting people's. I mean, that's not an infringement on a person's liberty. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the case, we should propose that every adult district resident should have their DNA taken. How would people feel about it?
I saw you tweet that.
Yeah,
that
like
made
if it's
a lot of
just
sense.
if it's no big deal, so why won't we just mandate everybody do it?
Yeah, everybody do it.
Yeah, and then how many cold cases are there? Or cases out there where we saying the collection of DNA is just going to automatically lead to a conviction. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't, like I said, I don't even want to get worked up about that. But I do think that people have to understand the historical wounds, the historical or the systemic occurrences, the systemic sort of par for the course that this kind of bill is tied to. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm gonna keep it real. And I don't even mean this it also, and I don't even know what you call this, but it does just feel different when there's a white woman as like the quote unquote leader. It was a black woman too in terms of the mayor. I know this was something obviously the mayor supported and worked with, but I just mean it more in the sense of like it don't feel good when you got somebody that a white person, sort of saying, we gonna save the day by locking more black people up. I'm not saying that the intent is not to keep DC safe. I don't mean it that way. I'm just talking about though, the sort of that historical piece. Like it's like, hold up, you know what I mean? Like, do you understand enough about this? Just because it's like, I had a comment about the most alarming thing I heard was chairperson spoke to. She said in the original vote, she mentioned comments that came from the Hill, Comer and the crew, right? The committee that oversees DC and the House of Representatives. And then you think about, she mentioned the police. We gotta hide their identity because, which I'm glad that they struck that out. But that the thing was gonna be, if the police get into something, any misconduct, that the public, they couldn't know the name and the badge number. Yeah. And the police basically had said to the chairperson, like, well, if you don't do that, we're not gonna be able to hire new police, and we're not gonna be able to keep the ones we like. What? Like, and you're not pushing back on that? Do we want officers that don't want to have parameters for them to ensure to keep our law, like to enforce our law? They don't want to have laws, but they want to enforce laws. Like, think about that. To me, that don't even make sense.
Let me share a story with you that is not a direct comparison, but for me, it hits home, and it makes me think about what it means to institute laws when you don't have a direct connection, right? So I was talking to two different people. One is my mother. One is a woman that I know that I'm really good friends with, right? Mm-hmm. Two different conversations. The woman I was talking to, she's single, never been married, homeowner, lives by herself. And she was telling me that we were just having a conversation, and she said that she has a knife in every room, so that when she has somebody come over to like fix something, whatever it may be, like she's always got access to a weapon. Yeah. So I was like, dang, I never thought about that. The other day I went to my mom's house, and there was a fitted hat in like the front room. So my uncle, my father's twin brother, stops by from time to time, right? Mm-hmm. So it looked like a hat that he would wear. So I'm like, is that his hat? And she like, no. She said, I had somebody working over here today, and I always put a male article of clothing out in the area to let them feel like a man lives here, mm-hmm. even though a man doesn't live mm-hmm. there, right? And in those two conversations, I said to myself later on, just reflecting on them, like, I never had that experience. I don't feel that way. I'm not a woman. If I lived by myself, I wouldn't be inclined to operate like that, right? That was a big blind spot for me. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't imagine being a man trying to weigh in on protective rights for women had I not known those two stories. Sure. Because I would never think of that. Then I thought about my sister, my oldest sister, who lived by herself for like decades. And I was like, dang, I wonder what she was doing when she was living by herself. It never dawned on me, mm-hmm. right? So you can only imagine what a white woman who probably has little to no experience living among droves of black people, let alone black men, who's giving you the context of, you got to think about this from the lens of black men. Yeah. Right? If you don't have that experience. Sure. Right? And then if you don't have the experience, how many of them are able to sit down with you and tell you their experiences the way that those women told me theirs? Yeah. And I kept hearing the repeated, you talk to people all over this. Who you talk? I don't know nobody you talk to. Yeah. And I tried to talk. I came to two hearings. I talked. We did. I mean, I ain't trying to be funny. But my point is, have you talked to the target? Have you talked to the target? I would say no, because I think whoever it is, it would have got back to you. Yeah, and we talked about we talked about that before on here, right? And it's like, okay. And then even the other thing that jumped out at me about the whole process was like, if I asked you, what's the most valuable thing that we have that you could lose? When you say we, people, yeah, citizens. I mean, I think your dignity is among the top. But in essence, though, like, what about like just your life, though? Your life, yeah, your life, yeah. Right.
We had like 200. We had 207 over 270 murders in this city. And during that hearing, I constantly kept hearing about like the reason why we were doing this bill was about theft and carjacking.
Yeah, things that impact them.
Not to marginalize that, right? But not the over 270 souls that left this place. But because 95% of those 270 people, 276 people, I think it was, were black people. And so me hearing that, say, dang, like, not to minimize carjacking. And that's a real fear for all of us.
Yeah.
Not to minimize robberies, you know what I'm saying? But like, somebody stealing Tide Pods or either a Chanel bag, whatever, right? Kind of trumped like Black Death. The potential of white harm is, even for black people, it moves the needle more than the reality of Black Death. And so that's something I think we have to grapple with. But this is when you contextually, this is deeper than Washington. This is an American problem where black people will continue. It's in the fabric of this place that we are at the bottom, and our lives don't mean as much as other people's lives, right? It's very clear. It's in everything, even for the most liberal of us, even for the most progressive of people. Fundamentally, right? We see it. And what happened this week is, again, a reflection of that. I've been reading this book, The Deep South, right? And I'll read it because it's mentioned in the movie Origin. The movie Origin is about Isabel Wilkerson's journey to write her book called Cast. Right?
Yeah, Josh. Told me about that book.
And,
yeah.
you know, she Warmth of the Other Sun is her first book, which was about the Great Migration of blacks out of the South into northern cities, and then it kind of culminates with the election of Obama. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, and in the book Cast, where she's linking the caste system, which she named it, that's in India, right?
Yeah.
India has a caste system. What happened to the Jews in Germany, right? Throughout, the Holocaust, right? With the Germans and the Jews, and then blacks in America. And all those three different things is like that there's a caste system, right? And she just unpacking that. When she mentioned a couple in the movie, and they wrote the book or whatever, right? Two couples, one white couple, one black couple. The black guy and his wife, the black guy, he from DC. So he went to Dunbar, matter of fact, and then he went to Harvard. But anyway, they embed themselves in this Mississippi town back in the 30s, during the Great Depression. And when you read in the joint, but it's all the things that we talking about, black people in poverty, in the mindset, right? The mindset of people when they can't work, things like you just hear all the different. This is verbatim. They taking notes. The white man talking to other white people about niggas, right? Because this is the language they use about, man, who a good nigga, who a bad nigga, what niggas like to do, how niggas don't grow up, niggas just like to laugh. They laugh at anything. That shit crazy. Yeah, man, I wish one dude like I wish I could be as I mean, the lady talking about her maid. I mean,
Did you see that Taraji thing the other day?
Nah.
So there's some controversy, or let me say this: there is some debate about how true her statement was. She was talking about the impacts of just talking about oppression and being restricted from living and really being who you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And the idea of when we laugh and we run away from each other, the idea that back in slavery, laughing was prohibited because it was like you were playing around. So we ran away to kind of like cover ourselves up from. But people were saying that wasn't true, but then there's some scholars that say there is some truth to it.
This is the part of when you reading, this is what, and I'm so glad, I need to see that because I ain't seen it. But listening or reading what was being said in the 30s about black people, right? And just hear some of the things that we do it might get passed down. So by now you may not know why, because humans are naturally cooperative. You do like what you see. If your mother did that, you might do. But it's in its essence, it actually might come from that. And so it's the same similar shit like what she talking about, like or like, you know, Holy says that whole thing of like laugh to stop from crying. Or like that maid might be laughing so she won't go off on your ass, white lady. Yeah. But you see it as that she just think, you know, I wish I could be as happy as niggas. This is what she's saying. Yeah. Or like you know, especially like and around anything and her feelings is so soft. This is what she's saying. She's like a child. If I rap a man, does she just start crying? She crying because she's enraged.
Or she know that you got the power to really
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. She can't tell you how she really feel. Yeah. So either she smile or laughs it off, or she cries. But from the lady's perspective, you know, niggas are just like kids. Man, it's crazy, right? So, but talking back to like black men and that couldn't work, that weren't allowed to have certain jobs. The smartest women in their community, the most beautiful women in their community, rather be a white man's mistress than his wife, because she knew that black man couldn't take care of her, their offspring, right? They talking about this in this book, right? And it's crazy too, because like you know what they call it, indigamy, like that's how caste remains. You don't mix race, but so the black man dealing with a white woman back then was punishable by death. But white men dealt with black women all the time. You know, America don't talk about that, but that's what we know. In slavery it was via rape, right? We know that, but that did not stop. Like in the Jim Crow era, that didn't stop. It was a lot of white men that had children with black women. You understand? But he couldn't marry her. He couldn't acknowledge that publicly, right? But in the black community, you know them little kids, father, you know,
white man,
Mr. Dave, or you know, Mr. Joe that owned the store. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. He creeps around this joint late night. We be seeing him. It ain't no different. We be looking at it back then like it's them. Human beings have been the same. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm getting to a point, and I'm gonna hurry up and get there. When these guys, they know what they do. They trying to figure it out. They gonna try to bust a play. They gonna try to make a move to get some money, to get some joy, to go, you know, drink some liquor, gamble, trying to win them some money, whatever. But when we get out of line, right? When we get out of line, especially when we infringe on in their neighborhood or around them, it's punishable by death and or incarceration, right? Yeah. So that's always the response to black, particularly black men, but black men and women. Lock them up, not address their needs, not address what, you know, not provide opportunity, not to include them. No, lock them up. And so that's what I mean by this caste system that exists in this country. It continues to be, it's the playbook. And we act like we don't understand when people, I'm not justifying anybody, victimizing anybody, or putting risk at public safety, but it's not just that simple. And we act like we don't understand or we don't get it. And then we make the response becomes, I'm saving the world by saying, you know, all this accountability, but who holds y'all accountable? You know what I mean? And so black people are never in position to hold people accountable for not doing what they supposed to do for them. You know what I mean? As a citizen, if that makes sense.
It's funny you mentioned that, because the other day, and I meant to hit you on the phone, the other day I was walking, and on my walk, I got to this intersection that has been a troubled intersection for the last couple of years, right? A lot of crime been happening there, violent crime. And it's not anywhere near downtown. It's not anywhere that the people considering this vote probably frequent, right? And when I got to that intersection, I said to myself, no matter what bill they change, the people who live right here, who got to go through it as like secondhand, third hand, witnessing the crime that's happening right here, this ain't gonna change for them. This is about downtown. This is about the areas where they frequent, right? So you could put 15 crime bills and it's not gonna stop what's happening at this intersection.
That's what I'm saying. And it's not, people gonna do you, if you render people hopeless, if people don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, people gonna do what they do. And like, yeah, okay, cool, lock me up. I mean, people have already accepted that part. That's all I've been trying to say. Because I really care about stopping crime. You know what I'm saying? I really care. We care. It pours out into our lives constantly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all on some potential shit. We know it's definite for us. Yeah. So of course I want crime to stop.
And we said this a couple of shows ago, and I'm gonna say it again very clearly and very slowly, right? I may even look into the camera and say this, right? There is no riding off into the sunset for people who commit crimes. There's no 60-year-old man who's sitting back in a big house in Accokeek like, man, they never caught me.
Yeah, it's not exist.
That don't exist, right? I saw a woman, she was interacting with you on Twitter and she was supporting what you were saying. And she made a comment like, y'all act like a month in the federal penitentiary is a slap on the wrist. It's not. Yeah. So consider that all the guys who've done 10 and 12 and 30 years, they didn't get off.
It's crazy.
You and I don't know any, and we know a lot of people, we don't know anybody that has just skated the law.
Don't happen.
You go to the feds.
That's no question. And
you go to the pen.
The city not sweet. That's another thing. We have laws. We have existing laws, bro. That's why I couldn't be like, we lock people up, man. And you know what? It's crazy, and it might be fucking, I don't be quoting him, right? But the chairman said something that I think made a lot of sense. He basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, listen, first of all, he said, our police department ain't been defunded or ain't took a budget cut in years.
Bro.
In years.
Do you know what happened? And I can say this because I was working in the council when this happened, right? That whole George Floyd period, they got a $18 million increase, I think it was, from one year to another, maybe from 20 to 21. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They cut it back to 15 instead of 18. But they made the narrative that it was a $3 million cut. Yeah. No, it was a $15 million increase. You just didn't get 18.
Yeah. So like, stop. And he went on to say, the council, right, and all this whole recall, the council doesn't lock up or prosecute. But in hearing some of what the chairwoman said, man, it bothered me because I felt like, damn, I know some amazing police officers. I got friends of the police officers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, yo, I hope these police union folks ain't talking to them like you blackmailing. This what I was like, or like, have y'all just stopped doing certain things? Are y'all letting certain things happen so that you could get this? Because I didn't even understand why some of that certain stuff was even being proposed in a crime in a bill about crime. How does some of that police stuff, make increase public safety? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, some of it just seemed way too pointed and not really rooted in what our issues are. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I do know it is rooted though, again, in, and I think this is what people gotta understand. If a car is built on, say, we use a car as an analogy. If the engineers of a car, if the car is engineered, right, built on white supremacy, the driver of the car doesn't matter. Yeah. So here in DC, a lot of times we thought we've been black led, Yeah, but the everything that we're carrying out is about. It's rooted in that caste system that I talked about.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who the actor is. It doesn't matter. It's who benefits the most.
Yeah, and who's going to benefit. Yeah. And in this country, right, it shows itself that the concern about this, DC wasn't out of control as long as that shit stayed within the black community. When it gets outside of the black community, now it's out of control. Just think about that. Just think about it. Like, so long as it's happening to y'all, it does not matter, right? But when it again, the potential of it happening. So that's what happens in America, though. White issues are prioritized, right? White people have carte blanche to everything in this country. There's nothing that's white people can be excluded from. You see what's happening with affirmative action. The federal court just ruled that even the minority business agency can't just be for minorities. You understand what I'm saying? Like that, like it's like one of those things in America. Is a white Christians is if you're talking about a hierarchy, rich white Christian men specifically, right, can have everything. Yeah, can have everything. You know what I mean? And when you look at who's the, this is what, and not even to make it just about that, but there's nothing in this country can happen without race being race is a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And nobody can. This is not even. This ain't no woke talk. This is factual. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? And it's proof in the pudding. And what we got to continue to challenge people around, right? It's like I want you. That's your job. Be concerned about public safety, but be concerned about public safety when it's impacting, poor black people. You understand what I'm saying? And let them lead you in what they need. You can't tell us what we need. Who you can. I just get so. It bothers me that it's like one of them things. This other thing that comes along with like this white privilege, where you know my issues. How you know my issues? That you didn't think because you talk to of course now. Oh, we all think alike and shit. Feel me? Cause what do you what is going on? But when we talk, we're gonna talk to a million business owners. We're gonna talk to all the police officers. But when you get to like the street, who you talk like? You know what I mean?
And another thing too, you go back to white privilege. And white supremacy, which they overlap, but then there's some differences. If you put a person in position to talk to the white leader, who's to say that person is not so honored to be in the presence of that white person that they're not sugarcoating their responses either?
Of course they are.
Right?
Most.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of black people you talking about though.
Yeah. That's what I'm about. Like, if you think that,
sure.
If you think that,
because you got chosen.
You got chosen, right? And if you think that their lives are more valuable, that their position is more valuable, then you're like, I don't want to shake the table.
And actually, that's what America does to you as a black man too, or black person. In a lot of cases, that I can't get into this room with these white people and be frank. I can't, right? I can't, because I already know I'm up against everything that the cast has taught that person to think of me,
and it becomes,
and me to think of myself, which is wild.
It becomes more valuable for you to say you were invited than it is to tell them what they need to hear.
Sure.
So if you look back at the invitation, right, it's not, let me give them what's really happening. It's, let me tell my friends they invited me.
They invited me. Yeah, they chose me out of all you niggas. So back to the book, right?
Yeah, I wanted to get back to
I'm saying but that's what I'm saying. It's like with this one guy, they talking to this white dude. It was actually about a black dude who was a murderer. But the white dude identified him, like, as far as from the vantage point of white people, he was a good nigga. Mm-hmm. He worked for a white man. He did. So he killed 2 black people. The white man got him off twice. When he killed the third, it was just like, all right, you gotta go lay down.
Yeah, I'm going too far.
But again, think about that, right? You even think about, bro, like, let me tell you how deep it get, like, to that same vein. Do you know, and I don't know, don't quote me on this, I don't know the stats. But like, you look at black men on death row, most black men that's on death row,
they killed the white person.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen that stat. Yeah. It's like startling.
I
don't think,
it's
honestly,
crazy.
I would go as far as to say they're probably, I wouldn't bet the house on it, but there's probably no black people on death row for killing black people.
Right. Or it's very minimal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for real. You can kill multiple black people, dog.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody proposing no death penalty. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing that's...
So when people hear, and we're starting to see this, I've seen it on X, Twitter, kind of in response to what you've been tweeting, right? I've seen people respond to you saying that, well, what about black on black crime? Well, the predominant race, the dominant race in this country believes that if you kill a white person, we're going to punish you at a more alarming rate.
Facts.
Right? That's in the hands of white people.
Yeah, that's clear, too.
And it's very clear. So, you got to take that up with them.
Facts.
Because if they started putting us in the electric chair or, whatever they do to kill you,
put
right?
Put in the arm and all, but they're not going to do that. That's not going to happen.
That.
Right, kid? That's my point. But then you want it different. And so you respond differently when the people that are fluent are being impacted, even if they not white. Money, you know what I mean? In class and race, you see it right in the city, and that's what doesn't feel genuine about when you tell me you're concerned about all Washington. I can't really believe that.
I'm not included in that.
Yeah,
I don't always think that.
I can't believe that. I can't believe if you really did, then you would take the steps. Y'all would take the steps to ensure that people have true pathways to viability, to sustainability. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta see me in order to.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to play something real quick. It's a video I saw on Instagram today, just to kind of set it up.
Yeah.
It's a comedian. They're on a podcast. They're talking about whatever it is they're talking about, just trivial conversation. It's a white comedian. It appears to be a whole white panel just talking, right? And he says something about black people. I didn't look at it as being racist, but it is a poignant point that he's making through humor about not being seen, or black people not being seen, I should say. Yeah. So I'm going to try to put in the microphone so the audience can hear it, but I know you can hear it. Yeah. Let's see if I can do it.
Only city where
my fault. Wait.
Atlanta's the only city where you realize how many black people are there. Not that there's more black people there. They're wearing everything and
wearing everything. See what I'm saying?
So he what he's saying there, very short clip but very powerful, is that he said it's not that there's more of them there.
You see them.
They're just more visible. You see them and like their presence is felt. Mm-hmm. And I think that in a lot of jurisdictions, people are used to either living or moving to cities and not having to deal with us.
I'm trying to tell you.
They don't have to.
They don't.
So when they do, it's like, wait a minute, we got to legislate.
That's
the only way we're going to be able to tolerate them is by legislating.
That's right. Lord, and you ain't legislating nothing to make them thrive more.
Right.
Yeah, for real. That's how I feel. And then what happens is that the black people that's in position too, you get in a position where you victim blame, right? You be like, yeah, man, we gotta do better. You know what I'm saying? But like, it ain't set up for us to do better. It's set up for some of us, and it be us, like that made it through. It ain't just, we ain't that good. What it is, that it's only room for a few. Man, I mean, it was real. It's not set up for, bro. I'm telling you, in this book, that book just always on my soul, because in the it's the same thing today, almost 100 years later, and this was in rural Mississippi, but it's the same thing, dog. You gonna get just like the black dude that was part of the team that wrote the book, light-skinned black dude back then, went to Dunbar, passed the brown paper bag test, went to Harvard. You know what I'm saying? And then you also get with a situation where that type of crew, or that situation created where only light-skinned blacks could have sent at that time. So you get a couple generations of that, 3-4 generations of that. So the dark-skinned blacks don't even think they can, they don't even have an option. So then the tropes about them being dumber, not being as smart as the light-skinned black, all that shit then you get the colorism within the African-American community, right? and you get this black bourgeoisie and the poor. You understand what I'm saying? And you get us today saying somebody acts light skinned. Like, what does that mean now? Because one thing about anything, everything has an opposite. So if acting light skinned is being in tune with your emotions, you know, being nice, whatever it would be. If you say he act light skinned or she act light skinned, what does it mean to act dark skinned then? Right? What is the connotation that comes along with being dark skinned? And so and think about how that shows up in the lives of dark skinned blacks every day. Right? We talked about this before too, where if I go somewhere, I'm gonna order the most expensive drink just to make you see my humanity. Right? Because otherwise, that's why when he talk about, they gonna wear the shit.
Yeah,
If they don't wear the shit, you don't see them. You just said that in your joke.
Yeah,
And so when they ask, when black people put up memes of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, and it might say ain't no Gucci belt in sight. That ain't the same thing. We wear Gucci belt because it's that without the Gucci belt, you're not seen. So it's deep. We be doing these comparisons against white, but why we don't do? Because it ain't set up for us to do that. And it's another thing I want to tell people out there. Everything about my friend circle is about building and collaboration of black people. But I'll be damned if that. So that's go without saying. But that don't mean I'm not gonna push on the powers that be to make this place better than what it is for us. You know what I mean? Like people be almost saying, "Why you?" Cause I'm gonna always do that. You know what I mean? I'm always gonna teach because it's like we are in a position where, and again, not just in DC but in this country, bro. It's not a defeatist attitude. It's not a poor mindset. I mean, your will only take you so far, bro. It's certain things that people deserve to have access to. You know what I mean? And we got to continue to fight for those things, all while building our own. But what you people don't understand, there is no such real. I don't care what nobody tell me. It ain't. This is America. This is America, bro. What does that mean by your own at the end of the day, though, for real? Right? This is America. We don't own nothing. You got your own business, but you got you bank with white people. Even your black bank with white.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, this is America. You ain't gonna have no separate.
I thought about when the NFL thing was going on and people weren't watching football, and wherever you land on that is where you land on that, right? But I'm watching Fox one day, and I'm looking at the sponsors, and I'm like, Visa is a sponsor of the NFL. So if you really gonna not watch the NFL, that means you basically gonna go off the grid because everybody's card has Visa on.
We like to sound sweet. That's all.
Yeah. Sounding sweet gonna be the death.
No, I'm trying to say, and I ain't taking it away. We like to sound sweet.
Yeah.
We like to sound sweet, and I be a little fit because we be like, and our other black people, we job be like, we think we can talk. We think we disrespect black people too because we say anything to black people. You know what I mean? We say anything to black people, bro. Like we really be like exploiting each other on the low in the name of like saving us and like speaking up for us. But you like saying anything. That's your like, cause you would have to boycott everything.
Everything. And you look at a company like Pepsi that has so many subsidiaries that when you walk down the grocery aisle,
you don't even know
Nestle
and
all,
you know
what I mean? Those, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you telling somebody to live in DC. To like you don't live in no farm where you grow, that might be the goal for people to buy land and grow. Yes, I'm with all that. This is not, you know what I mean. Yeah. But to talk about it like, yeah, man,
where you are today, could you stop today cold turkey?
Yeah, you on a white app
talking about it at your white job, at your white email domain, yeah, all of that.
You feel me? Yeah. Because the cast has set it up in a way in which that's America. So, I'm just saying, like, these things play themselves out in various ways, right? And so when you get to this sort of like where we are right now, coming off this bill that's going to criminalize folks. That people gonna have to, even the book to you where you going different. Well, you gotta go to Metro. You gotta show your ID. You know what I'm saying? If you can't produce an ID, you can get arrested. Like,
what if I'm going to get an ID?
What if I'm going? What I just came home? What if I'm going? You know how that's gonna spook people, bro? You see, but the people crafting this legislation they don't know nobody in that situation, because to them, who doesn't have an ID? This is really what people are thinking.
But I mean, if I lost my ID tonight and I had to go downtown and get one tomorrow, I'm without an ID, even if it's for 12 hours.
And you get on at Brooklyn and ride to Georgetown or I mean to Foggy Bottom to go to Georgetown or down the waterfront to go to the Southwest DMV. I'm just Yeah. And you ain't, and somebody say, "Hey man, can I see your ID, man?" And you ain't got no ID.
And I'm more.
And it's up to him to believe you when you say, "Oh, man, guess I'm on the way to get a D." You know what I'm saying? It's up to him to decide that. Come on, how is that smart? What does that keep? What does that prevent? What does that prevent? What like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, what does that really prevent from happening crime wise? You know, like how is that? You know, and really, they not asking Joel from Iowa for his ID when he going on his way to Capitol South because he is staff at the Hill. They not asking him for his ID, bruh. You understand? We know that. We know how this works. You know what I'm saying? We know who's gonna be probed for an ID on the train. It's almost like we just passed the law to profile. It's nuts. It's nuts.
In a internationally powerful city where white terrorism is most likely to happen, they still wouldn't profile white people.
They not. Listen, bro. January 6th, all of the school shooters, these big, mass shooters and all that, bro, this is what I'm talking about, the fabric. The fabric of America is that a white man is safe and that a black man is dangerous. So even in the midst of all these examples that we have of white terror and white people creating horror, right? You still don't see white men and be like, oh, shit, is he about to shoot up? You don't see him that way.
And honestly, in a roundabout way, the narrative that's always been written is that when that white man loses his cool and does those heinous acts, it is in the name of, I was fighting to improve how we are treated in the country. But when black folks commit the crime, it's just selfish, independent. I'm just doing this because I'm just dangerous.
Yeah. Like in that book, they say you gotta watch them niggas.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you. It's shit, you know what I mean? For real. And what's unfortunate, though, these same tropes that we're talking about, that imagery gets blasted to every American, though. That's the other part of this, right? So black people also take on that same thing.
Yeah.
And it's not about, so we use the whole thing because there's examples of, people from every race committing crimes.
And we almost expected, I'm laughing to myself because I remember just being a kid and being out of town and going to restaurants and my family at the table and another black family come in and then somebody like, oh, we in here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we
in this joke. Yeah. It's crazy.
But that's a sign of like, oh, what's about to happen now that we in here.
And that's all. And so it's like, everybody, I'm not saying every person from another race looks down on black people or black men. I'm not saying that. But people don't have, and in this city too, like, because you see at the majority of, not majority, that's the wrong word because it's not even almost all of people arrested for a crime is a black male.
Yeah. Do you think that I've always thought about this, right? Or let me say it this way, I've thought about it a lot in recent years. Put aside sports and entertainment. Do you think that people who are not black sit at their dinner tables and have great things to say about black people in general, not a black person, not like.
But I wonder. But I wonder outside of entertainment. Go ahead.
But before you go, right? Because we sit around. When I say we, I'm using we loosely, right? Black people, we talk about how hardworking Hispanic people are, or how smart Asians are. Like those things, they could be considered tropes, even though they're positive attributes. But do you think there's a positive discussion that people have about us?
No.
Not in their presence.
No, and I don't think Asians or Hispanics do either. I don't think nobody sit around and talk positively about black people. I just don't.
Yeah.
Because that's un-American. That's my point. Like who they, you know, and if it's and if it's not, yeah, because you get so many images. How much interaction do people really have with black people outside of, like, if it's not an athlete or entertainer, like,
yeah, I sort of,
you know what I mean?
We talked about this not on this platform, but we talked about it before. There was a Washington Post survey where they asked how many white people had black friends, and the results was not even equal to 1. It was like 0.5.
Yeah.
It averaged out where like white people said, I have 0.5 black friends.
Even in a place like this,
yeah,
where there's so many, you know.
And what it meant was, 1, maybe you don't interact with black people, but 2, when you do, you don't consider them to be a friend. They're just a person that you encounter.
You encounter, you tolerate. I don't know if they're your friend.
Yeah. So I guess with all that being said, right, and I don't know how to pose this question any other way, but given the height of civil unrest in 2020, which was only 4 years ago, but seems like forever, do black lives still matter?
Yeah, bro. That is the question. That is the question.
Because I know for me, you know, I walk every day and
them signs up, ain't it?
the signs be up in the yards, and I don't even see.
You know what
them
I'm
as
saying?
much.
I'm asking, are they like taking up? Not are they? Remember, they used it was everywhere,
Yeah,
but I like, are they? You know what I mean?
That's what, you know what, I got to pay a little more attention to it.
That's what I was.
But I have noticed it's not like I've not noticed them as much.
Yeah, and I know that we a place, not just DC, but you know that wave sort of is like, you know, now people is, but I really see like the crime bill and a lot of the things that was in it as like a response to that wave. Like where the pendulum is swinging literally back in the other direction. Those suits around affirmative action, that suit relation to the federal minority business agency and all that, this is the pendulum swinging back in the other direction.
Have you ever seen that documentary, The Black Power Mixtape?
Yeah, I went to see that joint in the theater when that joint was
So remember, there was a part where they had the guy in the bookstore, and I can't recall his name, but he said, to paraphrase, it is worse for social activism to be a fad than for you not to participate at all.
Yeah, facts. Because it's gone. And once it's gone, you ain't got a shot. All that, and you see all the attacks on the DEI stuff. I mean, bro, when you think about when you got a person like Elon Musk, right? Like this guy is arguably the most influential person in the world, speaking out against diversity and inclusion. Bro, think about like what, like and feeling like, yeah, like what?
And quite honestly, you know, we over-indexed in.
And I'm still on X tweeting and shit. But anyway,
Right. But no, let's stay
but
there.
I have to.
Let's stay there. You have to, but also think about this, right? It is maybe not an even exchange, but it's an exchange because, one, I think we as black people, again, using that loosely, we over-index in our adoration for him, right? Our people tend to adore who he is, minus the racism, if you can extract that, right?
Just like Trump.
Just like Trump, right? We have an adoration for
We're
them.
Americans. And you're conditioned your whole life to look up to the hero. The hero is, in America, a white man. Like for real, even if you don't know that, right? The rich white. Trump was the symbol of, you know, affluence, debauchery, you know, the balls, bravado, all that. And whatchamacall has sort of, he fit that same sort of, you know.
Now, getting back to what I'm talking about with the exchange, whether it's even or not, or fair or not, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, has been sustained, in my opinion, based on the content that black people have black Twitter has really helped sustain that platform.
Correct.
And so for you to, I mean, it's almost like, I think we talked about this before with Papa John's, right? He came out some years ago in support of like police, in response to the police stops and the brutality. And it's like, you have a company that delivers pizzas and a lot of your drivers are minorities and they could be pulled over at a disproportionate rate. So you're the person that's saying that we need to give police more range to do more when it's your people that could easily be a black delivery driver shot by an officer.
Yep.
Right? So just think about the irony that Elon Musk has a platform that we are sustaining, and that a guy like Papa John's has a business where his model is based around delivering food, and people who can't get better jobs are doing that job and they look like us. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, but they have the leeway to do that.
And the audacity to do that.
That's privilege, that's power. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
what I'm saying. And it's like that it's wild, bro. It's wild. And then it was also, to counter that, what's crazy is that when you know, for our people who, we got a million things to say about our people who are seeing some potential power. You know what I mean? We tearing that person, but we know that. That is, again, that's Americana, bro. Like, that, it really is. And we have to just continue to share like information around that. You know what I mean? Start to question, even doing some self-evaluation. Like, why do I feel that way? You know what I'm saying? Why do I think the way that I think? You know what I'm saying? And why aren't enough of us courageous enough not to just call out things? But in America, like, once you get safe, you gotta stay safe. You know, you can't shake the bushes too much.
So I want to go back early in the conversation. You were kind of alluding to, it felt like you were alluding to people that don't come from where we come from putting a mark on you for having relationships with people who are more susceptible to being arrested.
Yeah.
Right? We talked, I think you were alluding to that, right? But those experiences and those relationships give you a fuller perspective so that you can give sort of an expert perspective on how to respond to it because you have those relationships, right?
Correct.
And I just wonder, like, in this world that we live in today, where in this crime bill we had DC natives that are elected that had to consider this bill, and I know it was tougher on them. There was an additional layer because they know people.
That's right.
That are more.
I saw it look like a couple of them almost brought the tears in that much frustration. It's basically like, you don't understand. I mean, you know, from that's what they're feeling like. Nah, listen to me.
I remember there's a guy who,
especially when that time run out.
Yeah. Yeah, you want more time.
And the chairman telling you nah.
But you really got to say, nah. Yeah, for real. It means something. Hey, there was a guy who lived in my area, super conservative white guy. We served together on some community boards. And we had lunch one day. He just wanted to get to know me a little better. This is like at a point where there were no open conservatives where we lived, right?
Right.
This is like probably 15 years ago. That wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was a threat when people heard he was a conservative.
Right.
We sat and we had lunch one day. And he was just trying to get to know me a little better, and he started pushing, like, he wanted to see where I stood on things that he believed in, and one of them was gun rights, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I was sharing with him that in my experience, when people get a gun in their hands, they change. And they become empowered, and like their decision making is shifted. Like some of the skill set it takes to bring down a situation or de-escalate a situation go out the window when they got a gun. Mm-hmm. And when I was explaining this to him, he was shocked. He was like, well, how do you know that? And I was like, well, I grew up around people that had guns. I've seen those moments unfold, right? And in that moment, I was a much younger man at that time, but in that moment, 15 years ago, whatever it may have been, like I felt kind of like almost ashamed or guilty, even though it wasn't my act. But just the fact that I had that knowledge that he didn't.
Yeah, you know, he didn't have a context.
He had a context, and it's like we have this mark sometimes that other people don't, just because we have people that, and even to the extent of how we identify these people. That's my friend.
Sure. And they like, I could, you know what I mean?
That's your friend.
I mean, bro, you
Like,
know,
yeah, that's my friend.
It's my friend. Because you can't see that person past their charge or their lifestyle, but I know that person in their fullness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I got family members and friends that have been convicted of the most heinous shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, and so, but again, I get that gives us a perspective, so we know what would help people make better decisions.
But going back to the privilege, not that long ago, the Super Bowl, I forget which one it is. I get them mixed up. The Bosa brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their great grandfather on their mother's side was a mob boss.
Yeah.
And
man.
when they talk about it, it's like, hey, his dad was a mob boss.
Yeah.
You know,
See?
like,
They should get romanticized all the time.
They get romanticized all the time.
Man, Malcolm Gladwell got an article, man. It was like a little editorial he wrote in the New Yorker magazine. This some years back. It's called The Crooked Ladder. And he talks about it. There's so many prominent families and successful people of Italian, Jewish, and Irish heritage. Their generation in this country started in the underworld. Right? The Irish mob, the Jewish mob, and of course the Italian mob. And that black people, and they were able to, I mean, the whole movie, I always reference the God, but the whole movie, The Godfather, was there for Michael to take the family legit. Because in that was a possibility. The relationship that they could build as white people with the power structure, with judges, with politicians, that they could assimilate. But that black families who have been engaged in the underworld, right, did not have that luxury. And so it's a crooked ladder. You know what I mean? That's why when I was on the breakfast, I climbed it.
Oh yeah, you talked about
that's
that.
What
yeah.
that. That's
why
what
I heard that.
That's what that reference was.
Yeah. You know what's funny, right? So I think about this a lot too, especially in big cities on the East Coast.
Yeah.
New York, Philly, D.C., Baltimore. What happened to the white gangs?
Yeah. What happened to them?
But to just reduce it to them assimilating would eliminate the fact that it was a system put in place by
the powers. That's right.
Powers
to allow them
to allow them.
Yeah,
that's
right.
why you see.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's why you see
for sure
Irish firemen and Italian cops, because it was like, this the plan. We're gonna put y'all in these places.
100%.
Right. So where is that plan for our people that need to assimilate and come out of the streets?
Come on, man.
Why again?
Come on, man.
Again, anybody watching this?
But
where
real,
are white gangs? Where are they?
You think, but
they've dissolved.
No, and it gives you, so white gangs dissolve also along with white poverty.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
but these, whether it's the police departments, the truck, the Teamsters, these unions, you understand what I'm saying? They ain't have to pass no entry exam.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, come on in. We got you, right? Or even like Appalachia, and when you can't go to the mill or the mill closed or the coal mine closed, and we gonna just build these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, black failure, black death becomes an economic boon for other people. You understand? So what we gonna do? That's all we've been calling for. What we gonna do? We can't even carve out nothing And then when we get in front of, we tell them about it's everything they do to young black men that I ain't really with. I'm tired of it too. We come supposed to help or to hear them out, but then we want to keep lecturing them on what they need to do.
Yeah,
they're doing it.
Yeah, they doing it. Yeah,
they're doing it, and still they getting the same results as they man who ain't doing shit. So make that make sense to me.
yeah.
We can't promise. We don't guarantee nothing for them. They doing everything you say they should do to change their life, to pivot, to get engaged with the system. But then the system, don't allow me.
And then you would tell them pull their pants up.
Come on, dog.
You just reduce it to that. And here's the thing, right? For everybody that's on that type of tip, you and I know enough of these guys to know when they recognize opportunity, they pull their pants up on their own.
Question, bro. That's what hope does, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When it's something real, that's why I keep telling people it ain't about giving them nothing except the opportunity. But when the opportunity is real, they'll rise to the occasion. They're not rising to the occasion because ain't nothing to rise to in this city. Yeah. Especially if they've been just as involved. That's the problem. And then we point to the extraordinary or the extraordinarily lucky people and say, why you ain't like him? Mm-hmm. But also, for a lot of these people that we point to me to somebody that's under 45. Point to me to somebody that's under 40, that's 35, that's 25, somebody that came home in the last 5 years. You know what I'm saying? That didn't do 30 years, I'm saying, right?
Right.
Point where those people at? Where those people that never went to Lorton? How well are they doing? That's been going to prison only since the feds been in, since people been going to the feds. Right? We got a real issue, right, in this city around that. And we got to understand how the inability for us to get people in spaces where they can get career opportunities for them to thrive. We can train people. Don't talk to me about none of that. A lot of the training, though, guess what? If you've been just as involved, you can't even do the training. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is, if you don't see how that spills out into public safety, you out of your mind. You purposely being blind. You're purposely saying that don't make sense. It's impossible for you not to understand why that don't make sense. It's impossible for you to know, to not recognize the fact that you have a career or a job and you can take care of yourself and take care of your family is the only reason that you ain't considering breaking the law. If it was ever a situation, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm going on record about it. If it was ever a situation where Sophie and Isabella couldn't eat and I ain't had no job to feed them, I'm telling you right now, hand over back open. I'm telling you, because as a dad, yeah, I could not just have my baby stop. Cause really,
Ray.
Oh, we gonna have him on the roof again. Ray. Hey, we gonna put them couches back in them alleys, the blocks like that. But no, the reality though is that, but you don't see people as parents. You don't see them as, people trying. And it's, again, this is no justification for crime. But when people have pursued every other option, we really want to believe. I work in workforce development for this population. Now, I'm not saying this is not about. I ain't saying there ain't nobody who ain't saying I ain't doing it. But I remember when I was growing up. Just for some more clarity, bro. When I was growing up, bro, I'm talking into my early adulthood. Job was a faux pas. Like, that was like taboo. Job. Right? But like right around when I started working at Project Empowerment, and Project Empowerment started getting people like jobs like in the government and all that, you never before heard dudes coming home from jail saying they wanted a job.
Let me tell you something, bruh. I seen some guys that I know in the last 2 years get jobs. And they got jobs that, one, the individuals I'm speaking about, I would have never seen them doing that job. Mm-hmm. But then in general, people that I know, they would have been laughing at taking that job. And these people are like emotional about this job.
Holmes, I'm telling you, bro.
In a positive way.
Bro, yes. Bro, that's what I'm saying. People want to work.
Word.
People in the street want jobs, bro. I wouldn't be big. You just what you just said, I know this. Yeah. Back in the day, it's so funny, right? Because back in the day, like when we were younger, I remember there were like pipelines to Metro, pipelines to the federal government, pipelines to the district government, right? But you were battling like the crack epidemic. Nobody wanted to work then.
Man.
Right? It's like now everybody wants to work, but it ain't no pipelines to the jobs.
Yes, yeah.
Like
yeah, they'll take them jobs
bro,
now.
If we could create them pipelines again, I'm telling you, so many of our problems would just go away. But then the extra benefit would be that now the younger generation, their children, their little brothers, their nephews and nieces would see.
They primed to do it. Yeah.
This is what we can really get our hands around this. We are not up against this is not impossible. You know what I mean? You're not up against people making, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars. You ain't up against that in the street. We're not battling that.
Yeah.
I
want to go back real quick and make a statement on top of the Hanover thing, right? Because in that situation, as much of a joke as it is, it's you going through a hypothetical scenario where you take matters into your own hands, right? And I would venture to say that most of the crime that's happening in the space of violent crime is people that don't rely on the conventional ways to resolve issues. They take matters into their own hands. You stole something from me, I can't go to the police, I'm going to be violent, right?
Not to stop you.
What?
But I just want to use sort of language, right? That we hear from you. What you did. Jay-Z had his own people court. We hold court in the street. That's the people's version of holding people accountable.
Yeah.
Right? We use this. That's a lot of the violent issues. What we saying is really people believe in justice, bro. Believe it or not. We don't see. People actually believe in accountability. That's what I'm saying. The thought of accountability is not crazy. They don't see it, but the streets really do believe in accountability. It's just they don't feel like they're not a part of the bigger system, so they can't call the police and say, "Hey man, this dude just da da da." They left to handle it themselves. Not that it's okay.
But even the people who twofold, people who say that they should not act that way are the same people that if and when they are in scenarios, they take matters into their own hands.
Come on, man. Talk about it.
That's real.
It's a fact.
Because if you are a person who is not in the profile of who we're talking about as far as like most likely to commit crimes or be, profile, right? Let's say you are a white person that has a gun, you live in Columbia Heights. If you have a gun on you and you're approached by somebody and you feel threatened, you're going to do your thing first.
Yeah, you're going to feel justified in your actions.
Feel justified in that. And again, not to endorse crime, but you have to understand that.
But that wouldn't be seen.
It wouldn't be seen that
as
way.
a crime.
Yeah.
And in many of these cases, because these guys have been criminals or have been convicted of a criminal act prior to, when they're sometimes doing exactly what like that scenario. Where somebody tried to hurt them. Yeah. And they defended themselves.
Yeah, I saw somebody tweet to you the other day, what about all the mothers who cry about their kids getting killed? And it's not always black and white, because sometimes the decedent was not setting out to be a victim. They were setting out to be a culprit. And gunfire exchange, and they lost their life.
That day
they lost. And
but again, that's back to the conversation with the guy, the conservative guy. You already know that people can't understand the things that we understand.
Yeah.
You can't understand that.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every time. That's why we got to do things, set up a system, these off ramps, like you mentioned, where people are just in a situation where you minimize the likelihood of that happening. Because when you're in a certain lifestyle, it does enhance you being in those volatile situations. That's the point. Your law's not gonna change that, bro, because these people are in a lifestyle that creates a culture and a mindset that's how you gotta operate. You understand? But it's like I can't expect a law-abiding citizen that don't come from them circumstances to really understand, especially not when I only got 140 characters to explain it to you or whatever it is. And I also think it's interesting that, sort of this thing of like victims, right? Like what? Like we poor black people, we've been victims our whole life. We understand victimology more than you think. We understand being a victim. You understand on multiple levels. How could I not be sympathetic to victims? Somebody asked why you don't talk about victims. What? Do you not understand everything I talk about is about victims? Do you not get?
They think it's a line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the line where we from, it ain't like that. You understand what I'm saying? It ain't like that, man. Like it's just and you got everybody trying to interpret the realities of again a world that they don't get. Now from their standpoint, which I do like, man, I don't care though. I just keep that shit. I just don't want it impacting me. And I got you on that. I feel you on that, and neither do I though. But why does the strategies that I'm saying that's being informed directly by this stuff and the people involved not resonate like the strategies that you hearing coming from other people? That because where you come from, the mere presence of the police means something. That just means that it's safe to you. I'm telling you that that's not, I'm telling you that that's not the reality. I'm telling you this. You know what I'm saying?
You would have to almost have police playing man-to-man defense, one police for every person. Because I mean, I know situations where like the police was right there and somebody got shot right there.
It's many of those.
Happened there, like
it's many of those.
It happens.
It's many of those.
And they not running over there till them shots finish. And I get it. I don't even knock them for that.
That's not an indictment, but that's just the reality. That the best chance the public say we got for the individuals to decide not to do that. The police can't do that for them. You know what I'm saying? And technology. That's another thing. People have become very sophisticated, man. Yeah. Very sophisticated in how they operate and the things that they do. So like, because we act like, again, to my point, we act like it wasn't laws already. How many people getting caught in the act? Even with the carjacking thing, and I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole, but like, if say like I carjack somebody, right? And we know a lot of times in the car, I carjack somebody, and then I come around your way and sell you the car for whatever, you want to joyride, whatever you want to do, right? You got a free car, right? Boom. You get pulled over, or the police lock you, get you in the car. But they can't charge you with carjacking. Or even if they do, you're gonna beat it, because guess what? You didn't carjack anybody. You don't even know that I carjacked the person to get the car, right? My point is, the normal citizen don't get all of that. Right. They think just, we gonna create tougher laws with carjacking, but y'all act like the police are just catching people carjacking, and then they go into court and go. It's not that simple. That's not what's happening, buddy. You don't have the evidence. You don't have the sufficient evidence to bring about that particular charge. You understand what I'm saying? And then some of that stuff, like unauthorized use of a automobile or something like that, man, that stuff don't occur. But my point is that for the general public, is like, you talk about people going to jail. Oh yeah, they go, but they be right back. Maybe even if they do go to jail, they ain't gonna be gone too long.
But you said something earlier in a more material way, but now I'm talking about psychological thing here. There's nothing in this country where white men in particular are not included. So when we say something based on our expert understanding and they don't, it doesn't count until they understand.
Yeah, or think they understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
And so if they can't understand, I mean, I think that's been a problem, not a problem, but that's been a point on the table about violence interruption. Me having attended a number of community meetings, it doesn't sit well with people when a violence interrupter is in a meeting and saying we squashed the beef, and the community is like, well, why didn't anybody get arrested? Or why can't we know who was beefing? No, we sat them down. Trust me, it's not going to happen again. And it's true. It's not going to happen again. They got the truth.
Right.
But people want to understand, but you can't understand why that guy who doesn't have a PhD from Harvard can sit down two rival people and get it together, and we ain't got, nobody has to go to jail about this.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
And you've already decided what the outcomes are supposed to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think, again, that's another thing that's like very hard for people to digest. Why would we help people that hurt people?
Yeah. But I think we're conditioned to go along when we don't understand, as long as we know a person that's leading it is an expert, but we don't get that same grace.
We don't.
It ain't a trust me, I know what I'm talking about. They don't, nah.
That's back to the cast, though. There's no way.
Yeah, no way.
There's no way. And I'm for real, I'm being facetious in a way, but I'm not. It ain't no way a nigga know more about something than I do.
Yeah.
Tell me, you better. I see people look at me, and I know that's what I'm serious.
Man.
You can't. You know what I mean? Or you tell me about a study that you read. I'm telling you what it is, but you telling me about something you read that ain't. And there's another thing. Hey, everybody out there, where's my camera? Hey, don't keep evidence basing me with evidence that wasn't based out of Washington. Like, I'm so tired of hearing that, bro. Like, seriously, that has to stop. Yeah, that has to stop. It ain't no one.
If you don't understand DC culture, we talked about this on the last one we posted.
Telling you,
then you don't understand the difference. We don't move like everybody else moves, and they don't move like we move.
Right, but nobody ever references us there. See, that's what I'm saying. You see, what I'm saying? We're never. Nobody ever says, man, in DC. They don't go to Chicago and say that, talk about what happens here. They don't go to LA and talk about what happens here. They don't go to New York City and say, in DC, y'all should do what that's not what happens. Keep talking about what we one of the only places where, especially from the lens of like violence interruption. Yeah, there are definitely some similarities everywhere you go around these issues. We know that. We accept that. That ain't no pushback on that. Mm-hmm. But when you start talking about, gangs, and you talk about even the road like this, it's just so much that's different about us, about the prison experience, about all of that. ASU is completely unique. You know what I mean? We got, but again, when you don't value the people, from here enough to even think that we know more about our own self. That's what it be. You think somebody outside here know more about us than us? It happens all the time. Like that's a very clear thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very clear thing that people believe that. Yeah. People literally believe that. They don't, and it's like one of them, they don't think that, I don't know, I mean, they don't think people are smart enough, family. They think they're smarter than. And that's a very, very, that's part of the problem as well. And that's not about one person. That's about a lot. I see that across whenever it come to our issues. You understand what I'm saying?
They think our suggestions are aspirational.
Yeah.
But they're evidence based on what we see.
Yeah, they are evidence based. Yeah. That's it. That's what's so crazy. They are evidence based. Very much so, actually, right? Yeah. We're not guessing. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, it's crazy that, like, speaking of something being evidence-based, like, we have a shit ton of evidence about what happens in poor communities, right? Like, we have a lot of evidence on what poverty does to the mind, to the soul. Like, we know what it does, bro. That's what we should have. We should have a war on that. You in poverty, you in gun violence. You in poverty, you increase test scores. You in poverty, you impact addiction. You know what I'm saying? Like that's we have enough evidence for that. But why does it that don't inform though how we move, what we do? You know? And so it make you start to wonder, man. You know, y'all really wanna remedy these problems or what? Seriously. And our people, we ain't the end all be all, you know what I'm saying? But it's like that's clear though. I'm gonna keep saying that I'm not apologizing though for what I know. I work with people all the time. I compromise, I collaborate, I grow, I learn from people from all so I say these things not as a person that's been incredibly open and willing to work, but I know what I know though. I know, and when it comes to I know that certain people, you don't know more about this than us. You can't. How could you? Like, for real, how could you? And I wouldn't dare act as if I understood things more than, somebody that I know that's been doing something. You know what I'm saying? Because as a professional, that's like the professional courtesy and respect that I extend. You know what I'm saying? But I think we are in that. We're in that, man. We're so in that space where that's what happens here, and people think that they don't respect us enough, man. So again, we don't know what's next, for our city, but I hope that
was going to be my fault.
No, go ahead. But I'm just saying, I just hope that it has to be something with this same vigor that they put into that crime bill, some economic bill, a plan, man, for real, aim specifically at poor black people from Washington, D.C.
I was going to ask a two-part question to kind of land the plane, right? Again, I talked about the social unrest and the civil uprisings of 2020, and now we're reaching 4 years from that time period. Two-part question. One, did you ever imagine that 4 years from that point that we'd be here, where there's been so much reversal? And then secondly, where do you think we'll be in 2028, 4 years from now?
Yeah, I did not think that the pendulum would swing back this way so fast. But I will be honest, I was a bit, I felt like some of the stuff, like not just locally but nationally, some of the stuff was like, I didn't even take it seriously though, because it just wasn't. I felt like it was too aspirational.
Okay.
Just because I know this place. You know what I mean? And 4 years from now, I mean, we in a tricky time, bro. I mean, an interesting time with this upcoming presidential election. You know what I'm saying? And what happens? Because that's gonna really. That's really gonna, and I'm not here to advocate for either candidate, right? But what I am saying is, well, no, that's not true. That's not true. But I'll reserve that. But what I am gonna say is, we are in a very interesting place locally. I mean, domestically, as a country, and internationally, bro. Like, the role of America in the world is like literally on trial, if you will. With what we're seeing in Gaza, bro. I mean, and obviously, you got the war in Ukraine, and what's happening in Gaza, you got the Houthi folks in Yemen firing holding down their, Islamic brethren in Gaza. They shooting the ships that's coming through there. That's having real economic. It's gonna start having economic impact. So you probably gonna have, it's probably like a quasi war really going on there right now. You know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, I'm saying all these little different things can be cataclysmic, and without the right leadership, and us doing the right thing, how will that affect voters going into this election? So it could, or the idea of if there's these, again, talking about tropes and these myths or these things about election fraud and all that, what happens in this election if the current or the incumbent stays in office and they come, it'd be January 6th all over again. Like, who knows? You know what I'm saying? I seen a trailer for a movie called Civil War. The movies be project, like, who
And it
knows?
ain't from the 1860s.
Bro, it ain't. It's about right now, current day. And so there's a lot at stake, bro. In DC, you got just really quickly, we coming up on maybe a $600-800 deficit potentially in the budget. We know that means social services are gonna get cut.
First on the chopping block.
What does that look like? It looked like the Wizards ain't leaving, so maybe that, maybe downtown still needs to be revitalized. What happens to black people in that? Will more black people, exit, in 4 years? What does that look like? And what does that look like for the 2026 mayoral election? You know what I'm saying? Will DC, get a white mayor? Like, it's a lot of things, bro. It's a lot of things that I think by 2028, man, this city and this country, man, could potentially be a much, 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 much different place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, dog.
Yeah. Well, one thing I can say is that, to the best of our abilities, we're gonna try to share what we know and help as many people as we can. Yeah, I mean, DC has changed, and to your point, I think in 4 years it will continue to change. And my hope is that as many people as possible can join us in trying to stabilize our people, so that we can truly attest to the fact that this is truly a place of opportunity for everybody.
Ain't no question.
Right. So thank you guys again for watching Heart of the City. Again, as I've been saying a lot recently, people are walking up to us all the time and telling us they love what we're doing. So my first response from here on out is going to be, have you subscribed to the page?
Yeah, for sure.
have you liked it? Have you left a comment yet? We're really trying to expand it and make it all that it can be. And we appreciate folks for listening, watching, sharing.
Absolutely.
And doing all you can to help uplift us as we uplift y'all. So
100%.
Until next time, one love. Peace.
Peace and love.